Hey guys. Whoa. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing a review of the Condor. We flew business class, so we were on the A330-900 Neo. Our journey started in Germany. We took the train to the Frankfurt Airport actually, and from there we always travel with just carry-ons. It's honestly so nice to just get to the airport and then go straight to security. So there is a separate line for business class security. So if you have priority pass, you have access to a couple different lounges in the airport. You also have access to Lufthansa, which was, it was all right, to be honest. I always think of Lufthansa business class as being a little higher end, but wasn't that impressed. There wasn't very many comfortable lounging chairs. The food was all right, but I mean, we're always so thankful to have a hot meal and a hot drink while we're waiting in the airport. We did get a sneak peek at the plane, and it's so funny. Whenever I see the Condor, it always reminds me of that zebra gum you had as a kid, had flavor for like first 5 seconds, then tasted like cardboard. Yeah, that one. Like I said earlier, we were on the 330-900 Neo, and I found out that the Neo actually stands for, what does it stand for? New engine option. And it's 25% more fuel efficient. It's quieter, which is great. It can go longer range, and it has a smoother and newer feel, and it's a little bit more modern on the inside where the cabin is. Now on to the good stuff. So the plane, I was actually really impressed. These are huge seats. I'm actually really impressed. I was thinking it was like budget. Because of the price, I did expect kind of like think of a nice airline and then think of like the Temu version or budget version. It wasn't like that. I really like the nautical feel. The seats were spacious. Again, I am a tiny person, so as a 5'3"er, I felt like there was plenty of space. My husband, who is 6'1", it was a little tight. You are a back sleeper, it's fine. The footwell is a little tight. It wasn't tight for me, but if you are a side sleeper, again, and you're tall, you do have to kind of finagle a little bit to get in there comfortably. When you get to your seat, you do see an amenity kit, a water bottle, a drawstring bag, a pillow, a blanket, and a duvet. I always like to have 2 pillows, needy, whatever. On a lot of the other airlines, you do get 2. And then also, don't forget to like and subscribe. Everything was in pretty good condition. You could see on like the back of the seats that there was some scuff marks where it just kind of shows its wear and tear or age a little bit. And then my blanket did have a nice rip in it and the stuffing was kind of coming out. However, everything else seemed to be in great condition. But look at the amenity kit. It was that reusable material, which whatever, fine, save the planet, that's great. But I'm not a huge fan of, even though they're reusable, I don't really like to reuse them. So you got a toothbrush, toothpaste, an eye mask, socks, and then Rituals lip balm and face moisturizer. And I actually have become a big fan of Rituals. I was very happy with the amenity kit and what came inside of it. And then the little drawstring, it was kind of like a sports bag, I would say. We gave that to our daughter. It was pink striped. So, I mean, I don't know what guys are gonna wanna use that unless, like I said, you have a water bottle at your station when you arrive, but then they also came around with welcome drinks. They had orange juice, water, and sparkling wine. Just naming all of the things that were at the station. We also had slippers, which are so convenient. You can just slip them on to go to the bathroom every time, slip them off. Very cute design. Shouldn't say cute, very cool design. With the seat, the layout, there are no cubbies. So some other flights, you might have kind of a drawer or just almost like a locker where there's a mirror sometimes to put your things in. They did not have that. However, there was plenty of surface space. You get that little pop-out remote, which you can use when you're lying down, so you don't have to get up and, God forbid, you know, touch the screen. Lots of entertainment options. The IFE worked very well, very responsive. I thought that they had a really good selection of movies and entertainment. The headphones, I thought also were very comfortable. Now that I realize that the plane is actually designed to be a little bit more quiet, maybe the headphones weren't as miraculous as I thought, and it was just the plane, but they did block out the noise very well. I wore them pretty much the entire time. Sometimes they start to become a little painful on your ears if you wear them for too long, but I really didn't have an issue with these. You have all of your normal outlets. You have the USB-C, USB-A, and then you have your headphone jack and you have the normal plug. We have been on a lot of business class flights, and a lot of times the outlet does not work to charge our phones. So this one worked perfectly, no issues. You have your normal reading light, and then a cool feature that I haven't seen on many other flights is the adjustable headrest, and I actually used it. You can just tilt that, and it was a nice little addition. The only thing that was kind of annoying, and I kept hitting my head on it, the seat, when you're sitting next to whoever you're with, there's a lip that comes out. So every time I wanted to lean over and tell him something or eat his food, I would knock my head on it. So as far as the seat controls go, they are located to your right. Well, I guess if you're on the left, they were located on your left. They were a little finicky, I would say. There was a few times where you really had to. That was the only technical glitch that I really ran into. The meal table was wild. It pulled out and it was like this thick, long, I feel like I could have my whole Thanksgiving dinner on it. It was a very interesting table. I haven't really experienced one like that. I really like the tall ceilings, how they do the storage up top. It just makes the plane feel so light, airy, spacious. Great feature. Looking back, which I feel bad for the people behind me because they were feeling real awkward with me trying to video between the seats, but I wanted to show that if you are with your significant other, spouse, whatever you call them, there isn't a lot of privacy.
He wants his own partition because I'm being annoying.
If you don't know the person next to you, you have this little dinky separation, but it doesn't separate at all. It's you're there with them. For you extroverts out there, you'll love that. Just make a new friend. Introverts, you're gonna hate it. And then what was cool was we found out for only $180 more, you can upgrade to this giant seat that's in the front of the plane. Not really sure why we didn't. Oh, I know why we didn't do it. Because there were not two together. So he didn't want to be away from me. You're right, he would do that in a second. So it came with all the same amenities. You just had a much wider seat, it looked like, and a little more privacy. Onto the meal service. It was nice. They came around always with a hot towel to cleanse yourself. They also made up the table every time with a cloth, offered you a drink, and then what was different and what I liked about this was you were given a menu, and then we thought we had to choose what items we wanted because that's what you usually do. However, it's just showing you what you're going to get on this flight. So there's small bites, but you get everything on there. I would say the food was edible. There were a couple things that were pretty good, a few things that tasted like dog food, if I want to be honest. But, you know, it is what it is. Still thankful. Decent wine selection, liquor selection, sodas, juices, teas, coffees. Nothing super exciting to report back. With the bed setup, they do not come around and ask if you would like them to make up your bed. So you are on your own. Overall, I would say that the staff was friendly. They didn't go above and beyond, I would say, in any way, like some other airlines. Nobody was rude. There was one boy, man, he was a little rude. Onto the bathroom. So the bathrooms were fairly clean. You didn't have a ton of amenity options in there. You had the standard toothbrush, there was Rituals lotion, and then a clean wipey pad thing. I did see them going in there often to clean it, so that's always very nice. Pretty small. It was just a normal size bathroom, nothing special. Throughout the flight, they did have snacks available if you wanted anything. They had some chocolates and nuts. Not a great selection, but at least if you were starving, you could go get something. Stay till the end to give my final review, the price, and if we would fly them again. So we landed in Mexico. Now fast forward to us leaving Mexico. Again, if you have Priority Pass, you have options for different lounges. We went to the Mira Lounge and the food was actually excellent. Very happy with that. And there was a couple others that you can access as well. We board the plane and we are off back to Germany. I'd say the food was a little bit better on the way back from Mexico to Germany. Flight was uneventful, which is always a good thing. The staff was friendly. Now, for the final thoughts, we would absolutely fly this again. We only paid $2,063 round trip. Now, I know that still seems like a lot of money, but compared to like every other business class flight, you'll know that that is not a lot of money. I just spent the same amount flying from Frankfurt back to California in economy. So to get a business class, I mean, anytime you get to lie flat is heaven on a flight, especially a long haul flight. It's just, there's nothing better than being able to rest your weary back. Amazing price. All the other things are still somewhat comparable to the lower end business class products. You feel like you don't have to sell an organ to fly this carrier. We will absolutely fly Condor again. We recommend you give it a try too. Let us know if you have flown Condor or if you plan to fly Condor, what your experience was. Maybe it was not good, but maybe it was great. Let us know. Until next time, stay curious. Love you guys.